Good, good. How you doing? Yeah, despite the fact I hurt my foot doing something, I don't know what it was, but my foot hurts like hell today, and I'm not feeling very good about that. But yeah, it was a productive week. It was like our first week home since baseball, so it was good to kind of get some of those projects that needed to get done around the house, get those done. We got word that our new baseball, Brady switched to a new baseball program. They're going to have two tournaments in September, so it's like we got like a 3-week window, and then we go back on the road again for fall ball. But that's good. I'd rather do that than not sit at home doing nothing. So, how about yours? You had a boys' weekend? Oh wow. No, I haven't. I've never been on that. I've never been up there. But is that? Did you have a lot of places to stop and get some lunch and stuff? And mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm, mm-hmm. Good. I remember when my brother when he got a brand new what was it, like an 18-footer Lund fishing boat, and he wanted to come down here, and we took it out on the Rock River, and he let me drive it, and he's like, just go ahead and open it up, So I opened it up on Rock River, and I hit one of those spots, and I don't own a boat, so I don't know. Like I've driven maybe two or three in my time, so I'm not really in tune to where the water flows and everything. It's the same thing. It was like steady 6-7 feet of water, and all of a sudden just went to almost maybe a foot, and he just heard a dong, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry, So, but yeah, I know what you're saying there when you're saying that those sandbars just come out of nowhere. Good, good. Yeah, chapter 3, belonging, changing that mentality from me to we, and we'll start with that quip from the front end of the book. Again, we don't have to read it this time, but just something like I said to keep in your back pocket. I think it's a great quote on leadership and how leadership should function. So, um, obviously, great. Oh, oh, sure, no problem. Right. So, so like I said, when we started this book, we were going to start with this page always. And that's, I think it's a great thing to have, being ripped out in your book and keep in your wallet or something. Kind of an own personal mission statement, if you will, on if you really want to be a leader. I mean, I think, a lot of people inspire to be leaders, but oftentimes they don't understand that the responsibility that comes with that. And they don't understand what it takes to actually be a leader. It's very difficult. It's very trying. To be I think a good leader is an empathetic leader, and to be very empathetic takes a lot out of you as a person, I think, because you're solely trying to put yourself in everybody else's shoes, and sometimes you don't make time for your own shoes. So being an empathetic leader, a true leader, it's very trying. It's very, very trying, especially in this day and age. Very difficult. Yes, yes. Name on the desk, name on the door. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 And it's, there's those that don't even know they're a leader. They're just going about doing their daily job, but they care so much about, the cause, what they're working for, who they're working for, the group of people that they're working with. Those aspects right there are enough to inspire somebody to be a leader, with or without a title. You know, correct. Yeah, that's like the movie Braveheart. When Mel Gibson said people don't follow titles, they follow courage. That's exactly right. I mean, people don't follow titles. Nobody follows titles. You're required to by your job, by the law, whatever. But not oftentimes do you follow that. You just do what you have to do because they do what they have to do. Flip it over, you got a true leader that truly cares about you. You're gonna do whatever you can to make that person happy because you know that you're going to be happy because of it. So and that's kind of the two different dichotomies that you have in leadership, I think, today. And the reason why I like this chapter, this me to we, and I hate to get philosophical here, but with everything that's going on in Wisconsin and Kenosha, this me movement, this Me Too movement, it was really poignant to read this chapter because I think that this chapter can really kind of bleed into what's going on right now in this country and in Kenosha in particular on both sides. And I'm not going to get political on which side of the aisle that I sit. But when you talk about this chapter, this me to we, what we're talking about is being in that protective group. We have that picture there on slide 4 of that herd of elephants, surrounding their young, and it doesn't matter if you're a human being or if you're, animals understand this principle as well. You circle around because, your strongest folks can sit on the outside of that circle and they can see that danger coming in from the outside, and your weaker individuals, your youngins and your older people or animals or whatever are on the inner part of the circle. So we crave as animals a circle of safety. And like I said, let's put this into terms of Kenosha and the rest of the country. We crave, if you're on the side of the radical movement, you crave that inner circle, that security, that groupingness of people that believe in that same fact and that same principle. And it's the same thing on the other side. It's just a different view. Now you're starting to see the conservative movement kind of step up, and they're starting to be a little bit more protective of their country, of their people, of their stores. It's real interesting because I think we need to really kind of break those circles and come together as a nation. But it's real interesting to see that dichotomy happening right now with these circles of safety that are happening right now. Mhm. Yeah. It's the same thing. It is that we understand that as animals in a society, whether we're human or whether we're wolves or elephants, we understand how to protect our weakest and what we need to do that. This chapter starts off with an Aesop fable about a bunch of lions surrounding a bunch of oxen, and they were going to come in and kill the oxen, but the strongest oxen stood on the outside. Consequently, though, the lions were smart. They stayed in the grass, and then once those weak ones came off to feed or to drink water, that's when they attacked. But once they left that circle, if they stayed in that circle, they were perfectly fine. And so, and I think, if you switch to slide 5 there's that very simplistic schematic. I mean, it looks like it was drawn by a child, but it says what it is. It's the same in our workspace. Our workspace is the same thing. Although, in our workspace, we don't have to worry about defending ourselves from a pack of lions. But, you do crave that circle of safety inside your workplace. You want to feel safe when you go to work. Now, I'm not talking about wrapping yourself in bubble wrap every day and going to work, but you don't want to go to work fearing that you're going to lose your job, fearing that there's something out there that's going to take your job away from you, constantly in fear that, am I doing a good enough job to keep my job? You don't want those kind of thoughts, because you're not going to be focused on your job. You're going to be focused on those things. So that's where this comes from. And creating that circle of safety on the leadership side, that's what we have to do as leaders, is create that circle of safety so our employees don't feel that way. That's what this whole thing is about. So on slide 6, we talked about that, that circle of safety. What is it? What does it mean? It's just that the nature of people needing to feel safe. People want to feel that safety, comforting feeling when they go to work every day. You have dangers that are all around you, both internal and external. So it's very good to identify those, as your job. What are your external? I think your external ones are a little easier. It's your stock market fluctuations. It's maybe some new technology that's going to come in and sweep you out of the game. Obviously, your competition, who you're competing against. You can't have very many, effects on those things. That's just a difficult thing to try to control. Which I think you can have more control over is your internal dangers. Like I said, the threat of being fired, the threat of being transferred, the threat of your job changing. Those are more of the internal factors that you as an employee or as a leader have great influence on changing and molding. Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. And that's if you're in it for just you and you have that mindset that, hey, I'm going to ride this train as long as it takes me, and then when it stops, it stops. That I think that's the wrong mindset. I really do. I think you have to have a mindset that if you're truly happy with your job and you're truly you want to be there, then your mindset has to be, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it. I want to retire here, so I'm going to do whatever I can to keep my people and myself comfortable in that circle of safety. So if I look at my external factors, I'm looking out at my competition constantly. I'm analyzing what they're doing. It's no secret. I mean, you know people in the industry. You can talk. You can hear things. You can read things on the internet. Same thing with technology. I'm going to trade shows. I'm talking to my vendors. I'm understanding, what technologies are coming about, so I understand how those changes are going to affect my company. Now, the side effect of that, which is great, is that your people, your internal people, if you are a leader and you're doing those kind of things, your people are going to see that and they're going to say, hey, Nate took extra time out of his schedule, went on a Saturday and a Sunday and a Monday to this trade show to learn about some new technology. That guy is a real true leader. He really cares about what's going on. He didn't do that just to go there and have, dinner and beers with some guys. He actually sat in on 8 hours of education to understand how some new technology is going to change the face of our company. Now that's what I call a true leader. So I think that's a big thing. In internal conflict, like I said, you structure your company right. We go back to our last book. You get the right people on the bus. You get the right directive. Then your internal conflict should really almost be nothing. If you get it structured the right way to begin with. If you got the right people that are on the bus, they know what they're supposed to be doing, and the goals are in line with everybody else's, there shouldn't be any issues. Yeah. Well, and they're all tied together, and that's why I hope people can appreciate that, because these, although they're sometimes said differently, they're all teaching the same thing. There is no secret sauce for success. They're all right there in front of you. You just got to read them and understand them, and then apply them. Oftentimes, the application is the hard part. Yeah. So slide 7, we're talking about vetting your circle. The difference really between a good leader and a bad leader. A good leader is going to include everybody in the circle that belongs in that circle. There are certain people in your organization that just don't belong in the circle. They're just not. I don't know if it's not really a seniority thing. It's just certain people just don't belong in that circle, and that's just the facts of life. I'd like to think that everybody will be at one point in time, but oftentimes it just doesn't happen, and that's fine. But if you're structured, maybe you're a small enough business or organized in a different way that everybody can be a part of your circle. There's no right or wrong answer there at all. Yeah. No, I think as a leader, you have to vet that thing, properly. I think if you have a circle where everybody's included, well, then the circle kind of loses its meaning. It's kind of everybody's invited to the party. But if your circle is too small, then obviously you're going to have people that are going to feel left out, that probably should be at that table and they're not. And you're also probably not getting all the information that you need from a leader to analyze the situation. So you need to vet your circle carefully. Consequently, a bad leader, what they're going to do is they're going to give certain circle priority rights to those that they feel good about, that they're comfortable with, that they're friends with, maybe they play golf with. They're going to give those circle rights to those people, and then in which case you've completely blown up your circle and there's no circle at all. Yeah. So the message is that you just have to vet your circle, your size and what you want out of that circle. You just got to make sure that you vet it properly as a leader, or don't have it at all. Slide 8. Leaders need to circle too, and I think that's very true. You are the lead, you're the alpha dog, but you require that circle of safety too. You don't want to be that dictatorship type boss, and if you do, then that's fine. I probably don't want to. You probably don't want to listen to this channel anymore. You probably don't want to talk to us anymore. That's fine. Be on with yourself. Totally fine. But when a boss, when a manager, when a leader gives a directive to somebody, they want to feel like it was actually listened to and taken in and used properly. It's not just another bark up the chain. It's okay. It's valued criticism coming from myself or from the leader, and I take it to heart. I'm going to change. I'm going to get better, and I'm going to do it for the betterment of the group. That's what you want as a leader. You don't want to, oh God, Nate's busting my chops again about this. I'm probably just going to agree with him and blow him off. That's what you don't want. Mm-hmm. 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 No, I think that's really right. I mean, criticism, constructive criticism, criticism done well, is is basically a path changer. That's something that's a guidance tool that's used to help kind of move that needle differently. Um, if you're a scolder, you're basically just barking all the time. There's nothing ever right in the world, and that does lose. When you start out at a company and you're looking at a very strong leader, strong individual, and he or she is scolding and scolding and scolding, kind of a strong person there. But over time, that fades. Versus if you're a subtle person and you're talking at a normal tone, and you this is good, but we need to change this. Okay, that's more of a directive, more of a change of path type approach, which is much better received. You're going to get a better reaction, and you're going to actually get the results that you want. Um, Another one that always really kind of bothers me is those that are always like, it's never good enough. So it's always like, it was a good job that you did, but I think it could have been done better. That's always kind of, that's like taking the wind out of your sails type approach, which is not necessary at all either. So, um, but it happens quite a bit. So, yeah, yep, exactly, exactly. So yeah, I mean, the take home message, like I said, is this circle of safety. Leaders need it, employees need it. It needs to be identified. It needs to be structured. It's very important in society as well as in our businesses and even in our personal lives as well. You have to feel that safety net. If you don't have it, then people are going to start worrying about their jobs. They're going to start worrying about the long term. Do they have a job? Should I be looking for a job constantly because I don't know if this place is sustainable? In which case, like I said, the focus is going to be lost from the true task of what they're supposed to be doing. So, very, very important to establish that circle. That's that's my take home message. Mhm. Yeah, I did too, and I think it's a great point you just made. That you can't always carry that load. If you are a leader, even if you're not a leader, you can only stay on the edge of that circle for so long. Before you get tired, and that's okay. In a good functioning organization, it's okay for somebody from the outside to come to the inside for a little bit and just take a break. That's in a good organization, somebody will be right behind him, coming right out to the line. somebody behind that person, somebody behind that person. It should always be interchangeable. If you ever feel like you can't leave that outer rim of that circle because something's really going to fall apart, you're going down the wrong path and something's got to change. That's very, very important because that's burnout right there. That's burnout 101 right there. If you're staying on that outside part of that circle, just analyzing where the dangers are coming in, that's burnout. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's a good analogy. I like that. I always need a sports analogy. That's good. Yeah, next week's kind of an oddball. Yeah, but that's the name, literally the name of the chapter. Yeah, but um, talks kind of more about like the breakdown, what happens when things break down, when you have ulterior motives. It's it's a little different. It's a little down of a chapter, but not bad. Like I said, this whole entire book, there's not a bad chapter in there. You can always pick something up from each one of them. So um, again, this is the chapters are kind of short reads, but there's a lot to take out of them. So certainly encourage you if you're following along to read those chapters 2 or 3 times because you'll be amazed what you missed the first time you went through it. So, but yeah, it'll be good. We might have to change the timing for next week, but we can do that. That's our power. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. You too. Yep. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.